Her world, once warm and filled with gentle hands, had vanished. The tiny kitten, no bigger than a teacup, huddled in the dark corner of a soul alley. Her fur, once a soft cloud of white, was now gray with dust and grime. Rain began to fall, cold drops that soaked her thin coat and made her shiver uncontrollably. She remembered a soft voice and a warm lap, but that memory was fading, replaced by the harsh reality of hunger and loneliness. Her golden eyes, wide with fear, scanned the unfamiliar surroundings. Every distant noise made her jump, her tiny heart thumping against her ribs like a frightened bird. The alley smelled of damp concrete and discarded food, but she was too scared to venture out from her hiding spot behind a stack of old newspapers. The sounds of the city were loud and terrifying. The roar of cars, the chatter of people passing by, the distant wail of a siren. She was just a small, forgotten thing in a very big world. She curled into a tighter ball, trying to conserve what little warmth she had left. A deep sadness settled over her, a feeling so big it seemed to fill her entire tiny body. She missed the gentle touch of her human, the one who had left her here. Why had they gone? The question echoed in her silent meows. As the afternoon light faded, her hunger grew into a sharp, painful ache in her belly. She watched people walk past the alley entrance, their shoes making rhythmic sounds on the pavement. They were warm and dry, on their way to homes filled with light and food. None of them looked down. None of them saw the small, shivering creature hidden in the shadows. She felt invisible, a tiny ghost in a bustling city. The hope she had clung to earlier began to wane, replaced by a growing sense of despair. She was all alone, and the world felt cold and unkind. The day turned into a long, cold night. The rain finally stopped, but the air remained damp and chilly. The kitten tried to sleep, but her empty stomach and her fear kept her awake. She thought about her mother and her siblings, warm and safe somewhere far away. She remembered tumbling and playing with them, their soft purrs a constant comfort. Now there was only silence, broken by the threatening sounds of the night. She let out a small, mournful cry, a sound so soft it was swallowed by the vastness of the city. She was just a tiny, lost soul, wishing for a miracle. Just as the last light of day disappeared, a new danger appeared. A large, stray dog with matted fur and hungry eyes padded into the alley. It sniffed the air, its nose twitching, and its gaze locked onto the kitten's hiding spot. A low growl rumbled in its chest. The kitten froze, her fur standing on end. The dog was big and strong, and she was so very small. It took a slow step forward, then another, its eyes fixed on her. She knew she couldn't run. Her little legs were too weak, and there was nowhere to go. She was trapped. The dog bared its teeth, its growl growing louder and more menacing. The kitten pressed herself flatter against the cold ground, making herself as small as possible. She closed her eyes, bracing for the inevitable. The world seemed to shrink to just the space between her and the terrifying dog. Fear, cold and sharp, washed over her. This was it. Her short, lonely life was about to end in this dark, forgotten alley. A tiny, desperate squeak escaped her throat, a final plea to a world that didn't seem to care. The dog lunged forward, its shadow swallowing her whole. Suddenly, a voice cut through the tense silence. "And wait! Go away!" A young girl stood at the entrance of the alley, her school bag clutched in her hands. She was not very big herself, but her voice was firm. The dog hesitated, turning its head toward the new sound. The girl, whose name was Yuna, took a brave step forward, stomping her foot. "Go on! Leave her alone!" she shouted, her voice echoing off the brick walls. The dog, startled by her courage, let out a final bark before turning and trotting away, disappearing back into the city's labyrinthine streets. The alley was quiet again. The kitten, trembling, slowly opened her golden eyes. The girl, Yuna, moved toward her, her steps slow and gentle. She knelt down, making herself smaller and less threatening. "It's okay, little one," she whispered, her voice soft and soothing. "You're safe now." The kitten watched her, her fear slowly being replaced by a flicker of curiosity and a tiny spark of hope. This human wasn't like the one who had left her. This human had saved her. This human's voice was filled with a kindness she had almost forgotten existed. Yuna carefully scooped the shivering kitten into her hands, cradling her against the warm fabric of her school uniform. The kitten was so light she felt like a handful of feathers. "You're so cold and dirty," Yuna murmured, stroking her head with one finger. "Let's get you somewhere warm." She zipped the kitten gently inside her jacket where it was dark and safe, and began the walk home. The kitten could feel the steady beat of Yuna's heart, a comforting rhythm that slowly calmed her own frantic pulse. For the first time in days, she felt a glimmer of safety and warmth. When they arrived at Yuna's apartment, the air was filled with the delicious smell of her mother cooking kimchi jjigae. Yuna took the kitten to the bathroom and filled a small basin with warm water. She washed the grime from the kitten's fur with gentle, careful movements, speaking to her in a soft, reassuring tone. The kitten, who had never liked water, found she didn't mind it so much when it was paired with such tenderness. After the bath, Yuna wrapped her in a fluffy towel and dried her until her fur was soft and white again, like a fresh dusting of snow. Next, it was time for the vet. Yuna placed the clean kitten in a small box lined with a soft blanket. The vet was kind, checking the kitten's eyes, ears, and tiny paws. He gave her some medicine to make her strong and told Yuna she was a very lucky little cat. Back home, Yuna prepared a small bowl of special kitten food. The kitten sniffed it cautiously at first, then began to eat, her hunger so great that she didn't stop until the bowl was sparkling clean. It was the best meal she had ever had. Afterwards, she felt a deep, warm contentment spread through her belly. That evening, as Yuna did her homework at her desk, the kitten explored her new surroundings. The apartment was warm and bright, a world away from the cold, dark alley. She found a soft cushion on Yuna's bed and curled up, her purr starting for the first time since she'd been abandoned. It was a small, rusty sound at first, but it grew stronger. Yuna looked over and smiled. "I think I will call you Nuri," she said softly. "It means world in Korean, because from now on, you are my whole world." Nuri blinked her golden eyes, and for the first time, she felt truly home. The days that followed were filled with joy and discovery. Nuri grew stronger and healthier, her white fur becoming thick and fluffy, and her golden eyes shining with happiness and mischief. She loved her new life with Yuna. Every morning she would wake Yuna up by gently patting her cheek with a soft paw. They would play games with a piece of string or a little bell toy, Nuri's playful pounces and energetic leaps filling the apartment with life and laughter. Yuna would talk to Nuri about her day at school, her dreams and her secrets, and Nuri would listen, purring contentedly in her lap. Their bond grew deeper with each passing day. Nuri was no longer the scared, abandoned kitten from the alley. She was a confident, happy cat who knew she was loved. She would follow Yuna from room to room, a small white shadow that never wanted to be far from her best friend. When Yuna felt sad, Nuri seemed to know, and she would curl up on her chest, her steady purr a comforting balm. And when Yuna was happy, Nuri would share in her joy, chasing sunbeams on the floor or batting playfully at the ribbons on Yuna's school uniform. Yuna often thought back to that rainy evening when she found the tiny, shivering creature. It was hard to believe this beautiful, vibrant cat was the same one. She had brought Nuri home to save her, but in many ways, Nuri had saved her too, filling a quiet space in her heart she didn't even know was empty. Their friendship was a testament to the power of a single act of kindness. A simple choice to stop, to care, had created an unbreakable bond and brought so much light into both of their lives. Years could pass, but their friendship would remain as strong and pure as it was in the beginning. Nuri, the kitten with golden eyes, had found her forever home, and Yuna, the kind Korean girl, had found her forever friend. Their story was a simple one, but it held a beautiful truth, that love and kindness can heal the deepest wounds, and that the connection between a girl and her cat can be one of the most powerful and lasting friendships in the world. They were Yuna and Nuri, and together they were a complete world of their own.